talking back and forth with the BLM, part of what we are simply saying as it relates to the east part of the Roan is just give us another 120 days for us to be able to make some decisions about how we want to, as a cooperating agency, move forward in terms of the Roan. And there is so much development happening. We think a 120-day period is a very reasonable request in a small period of time in relationship.
Today, we are at a different place in our history here in the state, because as I understand it, we have about 4,000 to 5,000 wells that have been permitted today. If you look out, just 15 to 20 years, we're looking at 12 times the number of oil and gas wells here in just northwestern Colorado that would include the Roan Plateau. So if you think about moving from 5,000 wells to 60,000 wells in that short period of time, it is important that people ask themselves the question, what is it that we want the western part of Colorado to look like? And it is in that context that what Governor Ritter asked Secretary Kempthorne and the BLM to do, which is to delay moving forward with the final decisions on the Roan Plateau by simply 120 days. That's a simple request to the Bureau of Land Management to hold off for 120 days so that some key questions that the governor has, along with his Department of Natural Resources and the Division of Wildlife, so some of those questions could be asked. I think that's a very reasonable request. And so what I'm trying to do at the federal level, really a couple of things. First, with respect to the Roan Plateau, I am going to support the governor in every way that I can to try to get the administration, the state of Colorado, additional time to take a look at the development on the Roan Plateau. And I will use every means at my disposal, including putting a hold as I have on the nominee for the BLM position, to make sure that the leadership of the state of Colorado, working with the federal delegation, has the opportunity to make sure that we move forward on the Roan Plateau in a responsible manner. Secondly, this issue goes beyond the Roan Plateau. It really goes into the whole development of the western slope, and what happens with oil shale development, what happens up in northwest Colorado. What are we going to protect when development does occur? How are we going to make sure that that development occurs in a way that protects that sustainability of Colorado? And I am just absolutely delighted that we have a governor in this state who is very interested in these issues. And I look forward to working with him in partnership as we move forward to try to make sure that for our children and our grandchildren, that the Colorado of the 22nd century won't be sacrificed in the 21st century as we move forward to the development of the oil and gas resources, which is really what's driving the kind of numbers for oil and gas permitting that I talked about a minute ago.
And I think just while the Roan is what we talk about most, and it is important to us and significant, maybe as impactful as anything today was to stand on the crest of the Vermilion and think, again, just about what we want that to be. It's uninhabited. It is a place that is a very wild place. It has a creek that runs through it. And you can imagine on the ground down there below, I mean, a lot going on. It is, again, a very special place. And for the sake of a little bit, it's got, I think, 2% of the reserves in that area or in that Vermilion Basin. For 2% of the reserves, we can go and we can develop that, but we can ruin what is now a very natural and totally uninhabited place. And I think Ken's right. The senator is right. We need to think very carefully, not about what is our present need today or what the impact is today, but really what we leave our kids and our grandkids. And I think we had this conversation standing over the precipice, looking out onto the Vermilion, saying this is really about our grandkids. And I think that's a good way to think about it and talk about it.